Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks Live. And today is Easter Sunday, and it's 420. That those two things don't coincide very often, but yeah, the whole 420 thing, I never really was big on that myself personally. I just didn't have a lot of good experiences with it. I never really took to it. I was more a beer drinker, I guess. But yeah, the last time I tried it was about, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. A friend at work gave me a cookie. He said, "My uncle makes these cookies and they're really good and they're really strong though, so only eat like a quarter of it." So I took it home and right after work, I ate a quarter of the cookie and literally 3, 4 hours later, nothing happened. I mean, no feeling whatsoever. I was about to, go to bed in another hour and I was like, screw it. So I just ate the rest of the cookie and holy shit, I fell asleep about an hour later. I fell asleep and I got just insanely high after I fell asleep. And just it was a crazy night. Just I had all kind of weird, crazy dreams, and I'd wake up and wouldn't know if I was still dreaming or not. It was just a long, really weird night. But I've only tried it like a handful of times, and most of those times were like before I was 18. After the age of 18, I've probably maybe tried it twice or something like that. Never really, never really got into that stuff too much. Hey, big country, Metal Gear. Lake. Hello, Lake. Over there in Norway. The old Viking you. How y'all doing? Glad to see y'all here. I was just talking about 420 and one of my few experiences with it. Very, very few. I don't know. I just never, it never reacted well with me. I never really got to where I could really like it. I never did like it. I just, I try it once in a while, uh, just if somebody offered me some or something, like, sure. I mean, I don't have anything against it. I just never did like it myself. So, but I know a lot of people do. Brad Harris, there he is. Big Brad. How y'all doing? Glad to see y'all here. 420. Yeah. That's yeah, yep. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do. But yeah, I tried it a few times when I was younger, just kids doing shit but that most of my experience with it was when I was younger. I'd yeah, that's what I was talking about, Metal Gear. But I tried just about anything when I was younger, partying, if somebody be passing some shit around, I'd try it. Hell, it's free. That's how I used to think when I was, 17 years old. If it's free, I'll try it. Shit. So yeah. Colonel Greasebag McQueen. How's it going? All right. All right. You gonna run some errands, huh? You used to grow it, Brad? Holy shit. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember my dad used to grow it back in the probably the 70s. He was trying to make money, he's doing it trying to make money, and the deer would eat it and shit. He was always pissed off because the deer was eating his weed, his pot plants up in the woods he had up there somewhere or something, yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't get a job, but he'd try to grow weed and shit like that. He wasn't like a drug dealer or anything, he just, tried to grow weed. Found some seeds or something, I don't know what it was. Yeah, yeah, Lake, yeah, they were. Yeah, they were real happy deer up there. Yeah, but that was I lived in a little tiny town called Clickitat, Washington. That was a beautiful little town. Yeah, the Klickitat River ran right past it. LJ, happy holiday, LJ. You talking about 420 or Easter? Which one you referring to? We were talking about 420, but yeah, it's Easter too. Both, okay. Yeah, I used to love Easter when I was a kid. That was a good holiday. I don't just for the candy, Easter just a candy holiday for kids. It's just a reason, kinda like Halloween. No presents or anything else, like birthdays and Christmas and stuff. Just straight up candy. And you can't resist candy when you're a kid. Any holiday that lets you have a bunch of candy. So that's probably why Thanksgiving isn't as big as a holiday when you're a kid. Yeah. Yeah, my favorite candy's cotton candy. Yeah, I love that shit. I don't know why. I got to go to a fair a couple times when I was a kid. Actually, got that fresh cotton candy right out of thing when it's still warm, and the guy's just twirling it on that little cardboard cone thing. Yeah, holy crap, that stuff was so delicious, and I've always loved the taste of cotton candy. I like cotton candy flavored anything. I've got these cotton candy, I take those, what are those called? Um, the stuff you put in your drink to replenish your electrolytes. Those electrolytes, I have cotton candy flavored electrolytes that I put in my water, working out in the sun, and damn, that stuff is really good. White chocolate, yeah, yeah, I used to like white chocolate too when I was a kid. I kinda got away from it nowadays. It's a little I just ate so much of it when I was a kid. I really liked white chocolate when I was a kid, but I ate so much of it, I kind of ruined myself on it. Cotton candy was different, it was rare. I didn't get it very often when I was a kid, so but yeah. Yeah, like I said, I never really was I've known a lot of people who would partake of the wacky tobacco, like, on a daily basis. I've known lots of people who smoke every day, but I've never been able to. Never really liked it that much. Dark chocolate Metal Gear? Yeah. Dark chocolate is supposed to be good for you if you have, the high cacao or cocoa in it. It's supposed to be really good for you. Hitler and Jesus shaking hands. What the hell you're talking about, LJ? Yeah, but do they still have county fair? I'm not even sure. I've been so busy with work, I don't even know if they still have county fairs like they used to. I never see them propped up, with the rides and stuff like I used to when I was a kid. They used to have, the ride, but now those rides were dangerous. They said they were, and so, you had the Ferris wheel and what were those Gravitrons or whatever where you got sucked up against the side? I used to love those rides. No, alright, lemonade, the tap or 2 out of the jar, yeah. Yeah, big country. But, yeah, those fairs, they don't have those anymore. I never see them. That's another thing that we've lost, is those carnival rides, and the fairs and the carnivals, I guess because everybody just, pussed out on it, and, "Oh, they're so dangerous," or whatever. And those the carnival people, they were like just like the school administrators and shit, they didn't give a shit how rusty the jungle gym was or anything, or how rickety the swings were out there. As long as we were outside playing, they didn't give a shit, as long as we were out of their hair. And that's the same way they used to feel about those carnival rides. If a kid went flying off of it, and just a kid, you know, make another one, I guess. But yeah, we were looked at differently as today's kids are now. Today's kids are coddled and bubble wrapped and shrink wrapped and all kinds of shit. They are not even allowed outside. Yeah, Metal Gear, that I remember those Gravitrons, those things were insane. Yeah, they were fun though. Yeah, there's a Broward County Fair. Do they have those rides and stuff, Brad? Do they set up the rides and those old-fashioned rides like we used to have? No, alright, LJ. Yeah, go to Disney? No, hell no. I was just talking to a dude the other day. He was like, it would cost like $300 to go to Disney or something. Last time Disney, it was 40, $50. I've only been like twice in my life, but when I was younger, way back when, and it was 40 or $50, something like that, 35, something like that. They're just a, regular regular price, and that dude told me it was like $300 now. I thought he was lying, honestly. I mean, I did kind of believe it because just prices are ridiculous now, but $300 to go in there just to get through the gate at Disney, that is just ridiculous. No, I don't go to Disney for that damn much. Yeah, yeah. Well, I went back when I was younger before all everything started coming out about all that Disney shit and all that, so before it became well known anyway. Yeah, but it was pretty cool back then, but I actually liked Busch Gardens better because we go down, living here in Florida, we go to Busch Gardens. I take my nephews down there in the dead, just dog days heat of the summer. And, we're here in Florida, we're used to it. And, but no, the whole park would be just empty. It would just be us, us Floridians out there running around, and we'd ride the rides, go on the roller coaster and go and get off and sprint to the line again because nobody was in the line. We just get right back on it and go around. We'd go around like that. That shit was so much fun. Yeah, I had a blast with my nephews doing that stuff. No, okay, the same year Epcot Center opened. All right. Yeah, it was cool back in the '80s. We had SeaWorld and everything was, it was just normally priced. A normal person could just go there. You didn't have to spend insane amount of money to go. It was just nice. I mean, if you knew, you're from Florida and you live around here, you knew not to, just like the movie theater. You don't go in there and buy food in there. You know what I'm saying? It's just outrageously priced, just like popcorn in the theater and that type of thing. But the tickets to get in weren't expensive at all back then. Yeah, Universal's cool. I went to their what's that? Hallow Scream or something like that. There are 2 big ones down here, Universal and some other place. They have Hallow Scream or something. They have a Halloween thing, and that was a blast. I went to the Universal one, and, I think it's Hallow Scream, and I had a great time. Yeah, they have people running around with chainsaws, but instead of the blade is not not it's the bead chain. It was a blast. I had so much fun. I love Halloween. That's one of my favorite, maybe my favorite holiday. It's just a blast. Yeah, yeah, Metal Gear. It is now. Used to be, it was actually something. Now they're just floating on their name, and the kid thing, kids want to go to Disney World or whatever, but yeah, big country. It wasn't woke in the '80s. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, grungy arcades is our Disney World. Yeah, Metal Gear. Dusty Johnson, happy Easter. Glad to see you here. Yeah, I spent a lot more time in arcades than anything else probably going out because every time I went to a mall, which wasn't very often for me, not as often as a lot of kids got to, A lot of kids lived in town or near the mall, or their parents would take them, and then my dad wasn't gonna, you didn't ask my dad to take you to the mall. Yeah, no, no. So yeah, we'd go once in a blue moon, and I'd go to the arcade. I love the arcade. Yeah, all the games and the flashing lights and just the sound, the atmosphere. One of my favorite places. Yeah, another year we've survived, LJ. You got that right. Yeah, yeah. So, and then that was another great thing about the '80s back then was the malls and the arcades, and just, that was such a that was a unique thing for us, because the hippies before us, they didn't go hang out at the mall and stuff, and the generations after us, hell, the malls started closing down. So that's uniquely Gen X. Maybe the millennials a little bit, the very oldest millennials, but yeah, that was pretty much Gen X thing, totally to our own. Go in there and check out the music, in the music store and the bookstore, and they had just about every store you could think of. The movie theater, the arcade, it just the whole thing was just awesome. And then they started having video game stores, in the mall once video games got really popular, and that was pretty cool too. Hey, Bucky, what's up? Yeah, arcades were awesome. I like the ones, I don't know if any of y'all remember them, but there were some arcades that that had the tokens instead of quarters. It didn't use quarters, they used tokens, and you'd put in $1 and it would kick you out five tokens instead of 4 quarters. Some of them did that. Now some of them gave you 4 tokens, but those were my favorite arcades, because you got an extra play, for your dollar. So that was really neat. I like those. But yeah, I remember that game Afterburner? That was one of my favorites. They highway through the danger zone, and you would be flying that jet through a valley and stuff. That shit was awesome. I love that game. That was one of my favorites. I love the games that you that like the racing games where you got into the seat, and you had the little plastic thing go over your head, and you felt like you were driving a car, that kind of shit. Or you got on the motorcycle. Yeah, I love those kind of games. Those were my favorites. Jeff 7, you're not late, Jeff. With the rest of us, we're just early, bud. Yeah, Jeff's never late. Everybody else is just early. Yeah, but yeah, those were my favorite games back then. The ones where that were more atmospheric, I guess you'd call them. You'd have a steering wheel and and or a bike handlebars or whatever. Or the guns, the zombie shooters were cool. I like those too. Yeah, yeah, Metal Gear, Electric Avenue. Yeah, that just hearing that Electric Avenue, that brings back a lot of memories. Okay. Yeah, LJ, did you grow up in like the same area? Me and my family, we moved everywhere all over the place. We didn't stay anywhere for very long at all, and we'd move, so there'd be a different arcade or a bowling alley. One town we lived in, there was just a bowling alley, but it had a couple of video games in it. But hell, sometimes we'd go bowling if we had the money. We'd go in there and bowl sometimes. F-Zero on Nintendo. I don't remember that one. I might have, but I don't remember it. We didn't really get a Nintendo or in my late teens, so I didn't get to play a whole lot of games. Dark Watch, what's going on? Hey, we're talking about some 80s Gen X shit here. Happy birthday to the Australian painter. Oh, okay. New York to Georgia. Yeah. That's a culture shock there, I bet. Yeah, you're right, Lake. We need to make it International Gen X Day. We need to seriously make ourselves a Gen X Day. Make our own holiday. Screw them. We'll do it ourselves. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't really get into video games really. I didn't have the opportunity to until I grew up and, got out on my own and joined the army and then I had my own money and I could buy a video game. I think my first console I myself was either the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis. I forget which one it was, but I had them both at the same time. I forget which one I bought first. But there were I remember that what was that game where the guy'd say finish him and he'd rip the spine out of the guy, you know what I'm saying? I forget the name of that game, not Tekken, Mortal Kombat, I think. Yeah, that was one of the first games I had on the Sega Genesis. I love that game. Yeah, Gen X Day, hashtag Gen X Day. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. Okay, Metal Gear. Yeah, yeah, that was one of the first games I had. So from then on, and then when they came out with the first PlayStation, that's when I really got into video games for a while. But I was just as a kid, we were just too poor. We didn't have a VCR and Nintendo and all that stuff when I was a kid. Never had an Atari or any of that stuff. Um, so yeah, but I got into it when in my 20s. Before, but my favorite game of all time was probably Silent. That shit was just bad as hell. I love that game. Yeah, we should just make 420. Start making this our holiday, Gen X Day. Next year on 420, we'll do something awesome. That'd be cool. Hopefully, we'll have a bigger group. We'll plan something awesome, some kind of whole online thing or something. Was it Laic who proposed we do like a. What were you saying, Lake? Wasn't it you who proposed we have a whole live stream, different groups of Gen Xers get together, kind of like a Woodstock thing, but not necessarily bands and all that, but just have a day where Gen Xers got together and we all live streamed to each other and stuff and had a Gen X day. I think it was Lake that suggested that. Gen X festival, yeah. Yeah, Lake. We should do that and make it on 420 and make that the Gen X holiday. Make 420 a Gen X holiday, Gen X day, like Brad said. That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Lake's always coming up with cool shit, man. Y'all gotta listen to that Norwegian. Pay attention to him. He's always dropping something awesome in the comments or in during our conversations that I posted. Yeah, Gen X Festival on Gen X Day on 420. Yeah. Yeah, Metal Gear, that's what I'm talking about. We can do it if we want to. There's nothing stopping us. Nothing stopping us at all. I mean, we could have a group of 5 people live streaming in one area and a group of 500 in another area and a group of 40 in another area. In Norway, Lake could have 20 people there and Vintage could have 50 in Australia, and we all just live stream that shit and hang out. You know what I mean? It would be cool as hell. Oh, David. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've just been working so much, man. Even today I actually had today off, but I had to change the oil in the van and do all kinds of shit. So when I do get a day off, I've got other shit to do. So I don't have time, but I need to list all of the times on there for formulaic and vintage and everybody across the United States, so everybody knows, what their time is, so they don't have to do the math in their head every time. Yeah, I agree, like, and I think that would be awesome, even if, even if even if you just it in one spot, it's just one dude out there, in a park going, "Hey," and that would be awesome. One dude in Montana, you know what I mean? Out there in the woods live streaming his shit. That'd be so, yeah, I think, yeah, we definitely gotta do that. All right. Yeah. David, you go by the sun mostly, yeah. Yeah, that's what I do too. A lot of times out there in the while I'm working, I get lost in time. I have no idea what time it is unless I look up. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out, Brad. We'll have to hammer out the details of it, but I think it'd be a awesome thing to do. That'd be so cool, and especially if we make it an annual thing. Hell, that's how these big things start. They just get and then it turns into a big thing. Shit, it's gotta start somewhere. So we can definitely do it. The presidential touch. Hey, glad to see you here. Kekistani Special Forces checking in from Frog Balls, Arkansas. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you gotta love that. Glad to see you here, Presidential Touch. Yeah. So yeah, I think over the next year, let's put together some ideas, and even if you don't want to actually partake and go out and hell, you could sit on your couch and watch it. You know what I'm saying? And comment and stuff, just like any other live stream. So we have to pull something together and do that. I think that'd be killer. Is it buffering? No, I figured out the ad thing, and so there shouldn't be any commercials on this thing this time. I finally figured it out. YouTube YouTube wants, they want me to monetize every episode. Want everybody to monetize their shit so they can, because that's how they get paid is by the commercials. Well, me too, but I don't get paid enough to worry about it. A couple cents, you know what I'm saying? So So anyway, they scroll down past it when you're starting your live stream. You actually have to scroll back up to find where it says, to uncheck monetize. You know what I mean? And put no ads at all. You have to look for it and find it because they don't make it obvious for you. So I figured out where it is though now. So now I just uncheck that shit. So y'all don't have to deal with commercials, hopefully. Just because I unchecked it doesn't mean that Google won't throw them in there. But yeah, we'll have to keep in touch on that and spitball some ideas and see what kind of, as far as on the technology side, if we can live stream to a certain spot or something, maybe. So maybe we can switch. I don't know. I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll figure out how we want to do it, and then maybe y'all can start just emailing me, right? And we'll converse that way. Maybe we can I'll CC everybody who wants to get in and spitball ideas and comment, and I'll CC everybody in the email, and we'll get a whole like email circle of people who want to contribute to the idea, and we'll make it happen. That sound good? Or if you got a better idea than email, then just email me with that better idea. We'll figure something out. If there's a will, there's a way. We can get it done, even if it's only us here. Big country, Lake, Brad, and Bucky. Just a few of us here. Shit, we'll just each of us will just go out there and drink a beer and live stream, acting like idiots if we want, and ain't nothing stopping us. Glenn South, Gen X proud. Hell yeah. Yeah. Glad to see you here, Glenn. We're just talking Gen X stuff. We're trying to get a kind of a Gen X festival thing going next year and make a Gen X holiday, maybe even. Well, we can make it. We just wait. They might not put it on the calendars. We'll put it on our calendar. Yeah, sell tickets. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Metal Gear. The email is all lowercase, just it's genxthinks@gmail.com. All lowercase. GENXTHINKS. Just genxthinks@gmail.com. Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll evolve just like all that other stuff you see. You see that kind of stuff happen and, it evolves. Yeah, well, look at Comic-Con. Comic-Con started with, a few dudes in a tent who like comic books, but now look how much it's evolved. So yeah, everything it'll evolve. Hell, in 5 or 10 years we might have, uh old rock bands from the '80s showing up and old rappers from the '80s showing up, to perform at these things. That would be awesome. Yeah. Oh, okay. North Carolina, Glenn, where how are you near that hurricane when that hurricane came through? Did it affect you? Yeah, iced tea. Yeah. Yeah. That would be awesome. I would, man, I don't know. I haven't kept up with the bands, but like Def Leppard and them, I don't know if all of them are still alive. They had that one armed drummer. That dude was awesome. Yeah. He was so cool. Okay. Colonel Greasebag McQueen from the North Carolina too, huh? You think they'd show up? Dead Wolf, the Texas Hippie Coalition. Yeah, well, we know we could get some smaller bands, to show up too. Yeah, but I bet after a while, if we actually stuck with it and, did something like a Comic-Con thing and actually stuck with it and grew it, we'd have, big name bands wanting to come, or at least, big name nostalgic bands. Zach Wild, was that his name, Rick Allen? Maybe. I don't know if I ever knew his name. I just remember seeing him in those MTV videos, just banging away on that drum set with that one arm. He was awesome, dude. Yeah. Yeah, Lake. Yeah, it could. Yeah. And there's no reason it can't. There's no reason it shouldn't. It's just whether we want to do it or not. It would just if a few of us just actually went out and did it, it would just grow. People walking by, what are you doing? Oh, it's Gen X Day, dude. I'm live streaming. You know what I'm saying? And they'd want to join in. Shit, it would snowball. It would snowball. The first couple years might be small, but after it'd grow. People then see after the first year, then people would have a whole year to watch that shit on YouTube, right? And get interested in it. People that aren't here, never heard of Gen X things, but they'd stumble across it on YouTube and say, look at these Gen Xers are partying on 420. You know what I'm saying? That shit would snowball quick. In just 2 or 3 years, it'd be big. I think it'd get big quick. Yeah, something else. Thunderdome, yeah, oh yeah, Thunderdome from Mad Max. Yeah, every spot, if it got big enough, every spot could have a theme. Like one could be Mad Max, one could be Red Dawn, you know what I'm saying? One could be vampires from Lost Boys, you know, shit like that. We could do themes from each live stream. That would be killer. Be like it'd be like a Halloween party. We could dress up in what's that called? What's it called when you dress up? I'm having a brain blank. Yeah, Wolverines. The Red Dawn group would get the cops called on them they'd have their rubber and cosplay. Colonel Greasebag McQueen, yeah, picking up my slack for me. Yeah, cosplay. We could all cosplay as different, awesome movies from the 80s. No ghost or any shit like that. No, none of that kind of shit. Talking about awesome movies like, like Red Dawn and shit like that. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And we could change the themes every year if we wanted to, or just stick with that, you know? We need to spitball these ideas over the next year. Seriously, we gotta do this. This is sounding like way too much fun to just let it slide away. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dead Wolf, make it as big as Sturgis, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. And one of them could get big like that, like one, because we have Daytona Bike Week down here, so and that's a thing where people come from all over the country to congregate, and the same thing with Comic-Con and stuff like that. So one state or whatever, one group could become big like that, it could become big like a Sturgis or a Bike Week or a Comic-Con. Yeah. Yeah, LJ, they all started out small, just a bunch of people with common interests and riding up on motorcycles and wanted to throw a party. And that's all it started out as, a party. A bunch of bikers wanted to drink beer together. And then it turned into Sturgis, dude. Turned into Bike Week. Bunch of comic book nerds like me wanted to get together and swap comic books, and it turned into Comic-Con. Yeah. Now they've got all kinds of celebrities and stuff going to Comic-Con and signing stuff and, just giving speeches or talks or whatever. Yeah, that Comic-Con's huge too. Yeah, yeah, Dead Wolf, that would be cool. There would be some places would do that. They'd do some off-grid shit. Yeah, Tetris competition, yeah. Yeah, the speed run for Mario Brothers. Okay. Yeah, you rode to Sturgis? I bet that was a blast, Dead Wolf. Buckaroo Banzai, yeah, Jeff. Hey, Mike, glad to see you here, Mike. Yeah, glad you made it, buddy. We're talking about the Gen X Festival, man. You got to get on the bandwagon. We're getting everybody on the Gen X Festival bandwagon. We're going to start spitballing. And you can email me at genxthinks@gmail.com if you want to get in on the spitballing action and start uh, brainstorming ideas for it. Yeah, leg Viking ships to Florida. Yeah. That would be awesome. You know how awesome that would be? A bunch of Gen X Vikings beaching longship or longboats and on Daytona Beach or something. Yeah, Daytona's on that side. Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'd have to have the totally Gen X shit. Yeah, you're right, Brad. Yeah. Yeah, Rowdy Roddy Piper. Yeah, that's another movie we can cosplay is They Live. Everybody can go around dressed as Rowdy Roddy Piper with the glasses and the flannel shirt. Yeah. Yeah, we need to do it. I'm serious, Mike, we need to do this. Y'all just start emailing me with ideas, and I'm gonna CC each and every one of you so we're all in the same email group, you know what I mean? And we'll just add if more people wanna join in, they can email me if they watch this live stream later, and then, and I'll just add them to the CC list, and we'll just have a big old email group going around. Oh yeah, Metal Gear. That movie, They Live. That movie is awesome. I have it. I watch it. I don't know at once every couple months or something like that. I love that movie. Yeah, yeah, that's a good damn movie. Yeah, Point Break. Yeah, classic movie there. I could eat the ass end out of a dead wino. That's what I heard when I was a kid. He said rhino with an R, but I heard wino. I was like, damn, that dude's hungry. Eat the ass end of a dead wino. But yeah, I love that movie. That movie was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we had so many great movies. Nah, Ted, the feds can tag along as long as they're Gen X. They can show up. Yeah. Judgment Night. Was that a movie? Metal Gear? I'm not familiar with that one. No, I like Roadhouse too. Well, the first one. I saw the new one with what's his name, the kid. But yeah, the first Roadhouse was awesome. They did an okay job. Again, they remade a movie that was awesome in the 80s and it's okay. It's watchable barely. But yeah, Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse was awesome. Yeah, that dude said, what if somebody calls my mother a whore?" And Patrick Swayze said, "Is she? I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice." Yeah, that was a great movie too. Oh, okay, Metal Gear. All right, I'm gonna have to check that one out. Judgment Night. I've never seen that one. Okay. Yeah, and it had a good soundtrack. All right. I think it is. I mean, when it came out in the 90s, David from Dusk Till Dawn. It came out in the 90s, so I consider it Gen X. It's kind of on the border maybe, but it's not really an 80s movie, but still, yeah, I would consider it Gen X. That's an awesome movie too. Oh yeah, like yeah, I shot a video about that thing, and I gave you credit for the idea too, but I shot a video about that. I talked about that this morning on a video. You'll see it tomorrow. But yeah, that's exactly what I did. I put that in there and I was surprised by the answers I got, so I went ahead and made a video about it. Yeah, no matter where you go, there you are. Yeah. Die Hard, yep. Awesome. Awesome movie. Yeah, Trick or Treat, Glenn South. Okay. You're talking about the soundtrack to that movie? Grease Bag, the teaming up with rappers. I bet that is badass. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out now. Cobra, yeah. I remember that stunt he did in Cobra where he spun the car around. They were in the Guinness Book of World Records for a while because of that stunt. Yeah, they actually pulled that stunt. Yeah, that was a badass movie too. All right, Dead Wolf. Be cool, buddy. Colors, colors. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. Yeah. I love that movie when I was a kid. Let's walk down there and get them all. Lethal Weapon, yeah. I can quote all those movies. Yeah, Lethal Weapon was a great movie. I remember the first time I saw that movie. It was awesome. Yeah, I know, LJ. Yeah, that was when that car got destroyed. Okay, Glenn South. All right. I'll have to check it out. Like I said, I've never seen that movie. So I'll have to check it out. I like the what is it? Lost Boys soundtrack too. That's a good soundtrack. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of I did some comparison. We're having a conversation here. Yeah, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. Rusty Doob, how's it going, buddy? Glad to see you here. But Chat GPT versus Grok and all that. And in my opinion, Grok is just the only one that I've come across that's just straight up neutral. They don't give you a bias side of it. You know what I mean? Because I'll ask them a question, ask ChatGPT a question, and they'll basically tell me bullshit like like they're trying to get me to vote for somebody. And I read it, I'm like, that's not what I asked you, you know. And I've actually had an argument with the damn thing, saying I didn't ask you that. I asked you for straight facts. And then the thing said, "Oh, I thought you would be interested in and then I told it, "No, I'm not interested in that. Can you remember that I'm not interested in that?" "Oh, yes. I won't do that anymore. If you just want straight facts, I'll give you straight facts." I said, "Okay." So then I repeated the same question to it, and it gave me the same bullshit again. The same the same, bias bullshit instead of facts. And I was asking it about Elon Musk, and it gave me all the bullshit conspiracies about him being a Nazi and all this shit. And I was just asking it a straight factual question. I didn't want that shit, and I haven't used it since then. But when I asked Grok, Grok just spits out straight facts. If you tell it to, it'll just kick you out the facts. And so I've tended to use Grok. And that shit comes in handy. I mean, I'm not opposed to technology. As you can see, I've got a YouTube channel, so I'm not opposed to technology for technology's sake. I'm opposed to it when it's used to take our freedoms and to, I'm not opposed to guns, but I'm opposed to, somebody kicking my door in and with a gun. Now I'm opposed to that gun. There's a difference. So I believe in the Second Amendment, but I don't believe anybody should be kicking my door in, taking my freedoms with a gun in my face. Then that's exactly the same way I feel about technology. When they use it to impinge on my freedoms and shit like that, now I'm worried about it. I'm worried about how the government's going to use that shit. I'm worried about how big corporations are going to use that shit. I'm worried about, all this kind of stuff. But as far as AI and robots and stuff, that's fine. That's great. I like technology. I'm a geek. So yeah, I'm not adverse to technology. I just don't like the government having it. The government needs to go back to the Stone Age, not us. We need technology for our Gen X festival. The River's Edge, yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, David, Goodfellas, that's an awesome movie too, though. It's just awesome. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, yeah. Yeah, LJ, the voice recognition software and listening devices and shit, all that stuff. I'm skeptical. I'm cynical. I don't trust any institution or corporation or government. I don't trust any of them. Any of it. None of it. I don't trust them with technology. I don't trust them. I don't want them to have any more power than they absolutely need to have to function at their lowest level. Oh, Smokey and the Bandit Metal Gear. Yeah. Now you're talking my language. I love that shit. Yeah. That was a great movie. And Any Which Way, what was it? Any Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can, um where Clint Eastwood was a street fighter. That was an awesome movie too. David. No, we haven't talked about the Deming yet. Any Which Way But Loose. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great movie too. And it had a sequel too. I forget the name of it. Maybe that was Any Which Way You Can. I don't remember. But Clint Eastwood made a remember the Dirty Harry movies? Those are awesome too. This is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. Blow a hole clean through you. Clint was the man back in the day. I hate to see him get old. And I remember watching Unforgiven and thinking he was old then. Holy shit, he was still young. Yeah, that was crazy. Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah. Yeah. Did y'all ever see Soldier with Kurt Russell? That movie where he went to Mars or something. He went to another planet. He was like a super soldier and he went to another planet and they dumped him off with the garbage. But yeah, yeah, Rocky, Cannonball Run, yeah. Platoon, yeah. Great, great movies. Yeah, Feeling Lucky Punk. And they had a song. Oh, we love to hear him say, "Go ahead, punk, make my day." Y'all remember that? I'm not a good singer. I hate to inflict that on y'all, but that was a song, and that's all I remember of it, but it's in my head somewhere. Oh, we love to hear him say, "Go ahead, punk, make my day." Do y'all remember that shit? Yeah, they had a song based on his quote from that movie. That shit was awesome. Yeah. All right. What is that, Brad? Day of the week. What is that? I'm looking at Brad's comment here, trying to decipher it. But said, no, he said that. I wouldn't doubt it, Mike, if President said that. Uh, does it, David? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, Brad, I got you. But yeah, that movie Soldier, it was what is Kurt Russell. He was a like a super soldier, but he got replaced by a newer generation of super soldiers, and so the old ones, they got kicked out, and he got thrown in the garbage and dumped on this planet, right? And basically started living with the natives there and had to fight with them and stuff. But the point is that movie's actually a sequel to Blade Runner. That's in it. That movie's in the same universe as Blade Runner, and it's a good movie. I liked it. I've seen it several times. It didn't, it was a box office flop. Well, Blade Runner was a box office flop. A lot of our movies didn't that and a lot of the movies that I like the best didn't do great at the box office, but, they're cult classics. So I'm one of those guys who's a big fan of cult classics. Pizzas come from a can, they were put there by a man. Okay, Brad. Yeah, just email it to me. Yeah. LJ, you leaving us, man? All right. All right. Have a good dinner, buddy. You can make yourself a macaroni and cheese like we did when we were 8. Oh, Escape from New York, Metal Gear. Yeah, I just watched that one a couple months ago. Yeah, I go back and rewatch those old movies. I watch those more than I do newer movies by far. Yeah, but I watched Escape from New York. I think yeah, I watched Escape from LA too. Yeah, I go back and rewatch Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Platoon and all these ones we've named. Now, Red Dawn, I watch that every so often. I just go back and watch them. I still love those movies. They were great. Just I just wait long enough, so it's not fresh on my mind where I can watch it again. Yeah, Red Dawn had some good quotes in it too. All that heat's gonna burn you up, boy. Keeps me warm. That dude, after he drank that deer's blood, he went totally ape shit on him. He went Viking. He went all out Laic Viking on him. Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, Born on the 4th of July. That was a great movie too. Oh, I've never seen that one, McQueen, the redo version. I've never seen that one. One of my favorite movies is Full Metal Jacket, though. That movie's got some good quotes in it. I love that door gunner, the helicopter door gunner. "Da, da, da. How can you shoot women and children? Easy. You just don't lead them so much." Da, da, da. Yeah, that dude was awesome. That door gunner was he was a beast too. He was an animal. What was that other one he said? How do you know if they're VC? He said, if they run, they're VC. If they stand still, they're well disciplined VC. And he's just cracking up. He shoots a water buffalo or something. That, that's one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Yeah, with that door gunner, he just cracking off the rounds. Ka, 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 ka. Yeah. Yeah, Bucky, it's hard to watch movies anymore, and they're putting all that bullshit in there now, and it's just hard to watch them anymore. It's gotta be something original and interesting and somehow done without all that woke bullshit in it, which is very rare now. Yeah, I didn't know they stack shit that high. Yeah, yeah, Brad. Yeah, yeah, David, the James Bond movies, yeah, those were good too. Yeah. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. And that's another thing about 80s movies is that they had so many great quotes in them. How many great quotes all the movies we quote and stuff and hear quoted and even on in commercials and stuff, they're quoting our movies from the 80s and you see quotes, movie quotes all over the place and they're all from the 80s or earlier. They don't have movie quotes from the teens, the 2000 teens and the 2020s and that shit. They don't have any good movie quotes in the last 20 years. What the hell happened? Did the writers just go on strike? Is it all written by AI now? No originality. We had so many great movie quotes just in that couple of decades there, the 70s and 80s. It's it'll last us for the rest of our lives. I mean, we literally have a movie quote for every situation we could ever find ourselves in, right? Just put the damn glasses on. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm fresh out of bubble gum. That kind of, when's the last time you heard anything that awesome on a newer movie, out of a newer movie? Never. It doesn't happen anymore. And that shit, that's one thing I can't wrap my mind around. What the hell happened to the writing? Where are all those good movie quotes? Did they just it's like they dried up. It's like it's a drought. It's crazy. Yeah, you're right, McQueen, they're not the same. I never saw that Trick or Treat movie, Glenn. Yeah. Yeah, Mike, there aren't any. Yeah, McQueen, I do too. I do too. I bust them out all the time. I'll throw a quote out there and I don't give a shit whether they look at me cross-eyed or not. Um, that's it. It's awesome. I'll be laughing and I'll be the only one laughing, but hell, I don't care. I know it's awesome. Yeah, Friday the 13th, yeah, those movies were awesome. We had so many great movies. Nightmare on Elm Street, uh, what was the one with Pinhead? Hellraiser. And then Nightbreed was a great movie. When I was a kid, I've watched it again here recently, and it's still good. But when I was a kid, it was just awesome because all the makeup, the special makeup they had to make all these different characters and stuff. It was just amazing. They did an amazing job on that movie for the time. Now they would just put one of those bubble things on their face and just CGI it all. But back then it was actual makeup. They had to do makeup and stuff, and it was really great. Dazed and Confused. Yeah. And we haven't even talked about any of the comedies with, um, what was it? The Great Outdoors, you know, that and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Uh, what's the one with damn, the golfing one? Yeah, that was a great movie. Caddyshack. Caddyshack. Yeah, Caddyshack was just hilarious. What's his name? Airplane. Yeah, Airplane's another good one. I guess I picked a bad time to quit sniffing glue. Oh, Police Academy. Yeah. Yeah, Police Academy was great too. There was another one, it was a spinoff, kind of a spinoff of Police Academy, but it was like they went to some kind of training for just to be night watchmen, to be security guards. I forget, Armed and Dangerous, I think was the name of the movie. And anyway, I remember one quote from that movie, and this guy asked the teacher or whatever, the instructor, he said, "What if they lying, right? And we know they lying. Can we shoot them?" And the guy says, "You use your own judgment." I don't know why that quote stuck in my head, but yeah. Dark Bunny, how's it going? Glad to see you here. Happy Easter. Happy 420. Happy Gen X Day. Meatballs, yeah, that was a great one. Presidential touch. Spaceballs, yeah. We had so many great movies. Yeah, and one of my favorite. What was the name of that one? Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Y'all seen that one? That's a good one. When he when he's hitting Steve Martin with that stick across the shins. Can you feel that? Ruprecht. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, holy shit, I'm gonna be laughing through this whole thing. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield said this in Caddyshack, one of the funny quotes Rodney Dangerfield says is, this steak is this steak is so bad it still has marks on it from where the jockey was hitting it. Oh shit! Another movie with Steve Martin was The Jerk. That was one of my favorites. Holy shit! Oh, you got the Spaceballs DVD? That's cool. Yeah, Slapshot was a good one. Major League. Remember Major League? Wild Thing. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. Yeah, David, don't call me Shirley. Yeah. Yeah, nobody else would know what that means. Don't call me Shirley. We all do though. Every one of us know what that means. Don't call me Shirley, dude. that bring that brings a picture into your head of that movie. Yeah. Yeah. George Carlin, yeah. He was awesome. Question everything. You know? Yeah, we had just the greatest movies. One another funny uh from that movie The Great Outdoors, another funny scene is when he sees that guy with the white stripe in his head. He meets that guy in the bar. He's sitting there drinking, and the guy with the white stripe in his head sitting next to him at the bar, and they start talking, and he asked the guy, "You been struck by lightning?" He said, the guy said, "Yeah, six." And he said, "You've been struck by lightning 6 times? 66 times." He's been struck by lightning 66 times. And when the storm came and you could hear the thunder in the distance and that guy was running, he was scared to damn death. He's a freaking human lightning rod. Yeah. Holy shit. I think he did end up I haven't seen that movie in a while. I'm sure he ended up getting struck again, number 67. Oh, Back to School was a good one too, Rusty Doob. Yeah. Yep. I don't have any quotes from that movie, but I saw that a couple times when I was a kid. Yeah, that was a funny one too. Yeah, we had so many great movies. Holy shit. I'll make myself laugh. I'll start thinking about this stuff and I'll just be sitting there laughing, you know what I'm saying? Just by myself. I'll be laughing my ass off just from memories from the movies. Yeah, we had some great movies. But John Candy, Steve Martin, who else do we Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was freaking hilarious. Yeah, Indiana Jones. Yeah, they completely ruined Indiana Jones. Yeah. Oh, the Pink Panther movies. Holy shit. You're gonna get me kicked off YouTube now. Yeah, Mike. Mike's trying to get me in trouble. Yeah. He said I gotta say it. I'm gonna say it. But that Chinese guy that he had, his helper or whatever, his butler or whatever, he told the guy to attack him just randomly, to keep him on his toes and to keep him, to keep his edge sharp and shit. So he had this guy attacking him randomly just to keep him sharp. And and the guy would always attack him at the worst possible time. And he'd be like, "Not now, you yellow bastard." Hilarious, dude. That shit was so funny because he'd be trying to do some shit, and this Chinese guy would come leaping off a roof or something and, and start trying to kill him. Holy shit. Yeah. That shit was hilarious. Yeah, and McQueen, there's only 3 Indiana Jones movies. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know, I quit watching Star Wars. I don't know what the hell is going on with Star Wars. I quit watching that after the whole Jar Jar Binks thing, that movie there, whatever that shit was. But that's back That's the last time I watched Star Wars, if that'll tell you anything. But I don't know if they're any good. Maybe the new ones are great. I just don't know. I won't know either. I'll have to take your word for it because I ain't watching that shit. Yeah. There was a bomb. A man with a monkey told me. Yeah. Yeah, I just got those movies. I gotta watch them. It was a DVD pack, Soylent Green, Westworld, um, what was the other one? A Steve McQueen one, Death something. But I got a 4-pack of DVDs from the old movies back in the 70s, some science fiction movies. Yeah, I'm about to crack off on those bad boys. But yeah. They had some good sci-fi back in the 70s. Yeah, some really good sci-fi. Well written, and that's the thing. Yeah, we've got all these fancy graphics now and shit, but it's not really well written. I mean, once in a while you have some really funny ass comedies come out, like that first and even the second Hangover movies. They were pretty damn good. I'll watch them bitches. I'm telling you. That shit. But the first one especially, but the second one is damn good too. The third one's garbage, but the first 2 Hangover movies were pretty damn funny. But, other than the oddball like that, they come out that's actually pretty good and funny, they don't have really great comedies just back to back like they used to. We had 2 or 3 great comedies come out every year back then. Yeah, Mel Brooks, holy shit, yeah. Stripes, yeah. And I watched Stripes, but y'all remember that Boom Shakalaka. That's where that came from, was Stripes. And I just watched that movie, I don't know, a month or so ago, a couple months ago, and I heard them saying that when they were marching, Boom Shakalaka. Oh, that's where that came from, the movie Stripes. Maybe y'all might have already known that. I don't know. But I just realized that a couple months ago when I rewatched Stripes. Yeah, Soylent Green. No, I didn't get the Charlton Heston 4-pack, but Soylent Green was one of them, McQueen. It was a 70s sci-fi 4-pack that I got. Yeah. I haven't busted them out and started watching them yet, but I'm going to. Oh, Step Brothers? Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a funny one. And that guy's made some funny movies. What that was his name? Colin Farrell? I think his name is. He's made some funny movies. I got to give it to him. He's made some funny movies. The funniest movie, the one that cracks me up the most, is that Legend of Ricky Bobby or whatever. I think that's the name of it. Do you want to go fast? Who wants to go fast? Yeah, that movie's just so stupid. It's kind of got an airplane vibe to it. It's just so stupid. It's funny. The funniest part in that movie is when his kids are talking to their grandpa at the dinner table. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. I'll come at you like a spider monkey. It's funny as hell. Yeah. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, you're right about that. Captain Kirk would have handled that ass. Planet of the Apes, the original one, yeah. Now there's a remake that's pretty damn good. I gotta give them that. The remake, the new Planet of the Apes movies. I like that trilogy. That last one they made, whatever, I watched it because I liked the first 3, but it wasn't that good. It was okay. Will Ferrell. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Brad, Will Ferrell, not Colin Farrell. Yeah, White Man Can't Jump. Yeah, Glenn. Nice one, dude. Yeah, that's excellent. Good for cut downs. Yeah. Raising Arizona. Holy shit. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that one. That's a classic. A classic. Up in Smoke. Yeah. 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 Cat's Eye. Yeah, they had a few good Stephen King movies. um, Carrie, and Cujo. Those were pretty decent. They made some that were kind of, that off of his books, but the best one they made, in my opinion, was what's the one? The book, the book or the short story was called The Body, but now I'm gonna draw a blank on the movie. Bachelor Party and Clerks, yeah, those were good too. Stand By Me. What the hell? How the hell am I forgetting that? Stand By Me. That was a Stephen King book. The book was called The Body. Most of y'all probably already know that, but yeah, that was probably my favorite Stephen King movie was Stand By Me. Chopper, sick balls. No, David. Raising Arizona was the one where they kidnapped that. I think it was a car dealer, a rich guy. They kidnapped a rich guy's kid. They stole a rich guy's kid. And then shit, I'm not gonna remember that biker's name. But then the biker was hunting them down and shit and trying to get the kid back. And it was Nicolas Cage was the star. And it was just a weird, wacky, funny movie. Just they've never made anything like it, never will again. It was just a one-off shot deal, and yeah, it was just amazing. Yeah, it was a comedy that bordered on art kind of thing and just weird. Yeah, if you haven't, you got to watch it. Raising Arizona. Yeah, you got to watch that again. Yeah, that's a great movie. Yep. Yeah, Mike, Christine, and Maximum Overdrive. Yeah. And they remade Christine again, didn't they? Didn't they make a newer version of that? And I know they've redone The Stand about 3 or 4 times, and that was a great book. Oh, no problem, David. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great. Coen Brothers. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, McQueen. That was Coen Brothers, wasn't it? That's the one that got them really put them on the map. Yeah, Face Off. Hey, old man. What are you doing? Glad to see you here. I didn't notice you pop in there into the chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, they remade Carrie. I haven't seen the remake. North Dallas 40. Yeah. And then what was that Burt Reynolds movie, The Longest Yard? Oh, and that Deliverance. Holy shit. How are we talking about movies and we haven't mentioned Deliverance? Yeah, Glenn South, Last of the Mohicans. I don't know when that one came out. I think that came out, unless it's an older version you're talking about. I watched the one with Daniel Day-Lewis. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis, with Chingachgook. And yeah, I think that came out around 2000 or something though, didn't it? But that's a damn good movie. I like that movie. Yeah, Laic Banjos. Squeal like a pig, boy. That movie that movie scarred all of us probably because we all saw it around the age of 10, give or take, between 8 and 15 or something, and holy shit, Deliverance. Some of those movies, Deliverance, Jaws, some of those movies just scarred us. Yeah. You out of here, Brad? Be cool, buddy. Thanks for dropping by, man, hanging out with us. Be sure and email me. Email me on the Gen X Festival and email me that thing that you put there in the comments. Please, sir. Dances with Wolves. Holy shit. Yeah. Me and my dad went and saw that like just before I left for the army. Me and my dad went and saw Dances with Wolves on the big screen. 1992. Oh, that's when that came out? You talking about Last of the Mohicans, huh? Oh shit, I didn't know that. I thought it came out later than that. Yeah. Southern Comfort. Hell yeah. Yeah, I've seen that one. Another good one. Yeah, I know, McQueen. That movie ruined his career. Yeah. None of us could see him again. None of us could watch him after that because we saw him, crawling around in the dirt in his tidy whities every time we saw him. Yeah, he killed his career with that one. Yeah, that shit was crazy. Hill Bill, what's up, dude? Weird Science. You mean David? I think you mean Weird Science. Yeah, that's a good one too. That movie's awesome. Chet, my boy Chet. Yeah, the first Superman, the second Superman. Yeah, who is that? Presidential Touch. Yeah, those were awesome movies. But what was the other one? I was I'm trying to remember. There was a movie with about the Civil War. I can't remember the name of it now. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it had oh yeah, Glenn, I keep seeing that online, the new Superman movie. We'll see. Hopefully it's good. I don't know. But I see that the suit they have him in and stuff. It's not Superman's suit. It doesn't. I've seen they take pictures and stuff and they post them online, and I don't know. It just looks. Oh, Mike, Outlaw Josie Wales, Glory. That's Jeff Seven. Yeah, Glory. That's the name of the movie I was trying to think about just a second ago. But that's a great movie. I think that was made in 90 or something, 89. Great movie. I think is it Samuel L. Jackson that's in it, but it's about the Civil War, and that's a really good movie. Yeah, we had so many great movies back then. And that's the weird thing is that with all the technology and stuff, you think they would be even better now. Why aren't they? They have they can, they still have the ability to write. They what happened? Did the government inject a bunch of shit in there? Is the government did they get too much control of Hollywood and the media and all that and they're just sucking the life out of it, sucking all the originality and all the ideas out of it and forcing them to toe the line or something with all their with all their blackmailing or whatever. Oh, the Outlaw Josie Wales. Now you're talking about one of my favorite movies, top two of all time. Outlaw Josie Wales. Yeah, Mike. Buzzards got to eat, same as worms. No, I don't remember that movie, Rusty Doob. Maybe somebody will. Bobcat Goldthwait movie. He was reincarnated as a rabbit. Rebel Rabbit or something? I've never heard of that one, or I don't remember. That doesn't bring anything back. Oh, Morgan Freeman, yeah. Yeah, McQueen, Morgan Freeman in Glory. He was great in that movie too. Motel Hell, Batman. Yeah, when that first Batman came out, that was like the first really really good and serious superhero movie that I remember seeing with Batman or any of them other ones besides Superman. They had the Superman movies, but anything else, we didn't have anything else. I think they had a Spider-Man. Well, I know they had a Spider-Man TV show and they had a couple of different TV shows. Shazam. They didn't have any real big blockbuster movies back then until Batman came out. Yeah, yeah. David, that new Superman suit just I don't know. It just looks dumb. I don't know what to say about it. It's got his suit is smooth, but it's got like texture on it and shit. I don't know. Pale Rider, Glenn South. Yeah, we could do a whole episode on um, just Clint Eastwood movies. To be honest, go through his movies. Yeah, he's got so many good movies and shit. We could just talk about his bad movies for for a couple hours probably. He's had the longest, most awesome career. My Bodyguard. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mike. The creativity is just being sucked out of it. I don't know if it's that maybe the Epstein Island has something to do with that and the P. Diddy thing and all that. I don't know. But something has happened in there to just suck all the creativity and originality out of Hollywood. I mean, I honestly now I like watching I'll find some new TV shows like dramas, TV shows that I like once in a while now. But I've mentioned that TV show Vikings, and if you haven't seen that, that's just an awesome show about it's about the Vikings, Ragnar Lothbrok and his sons and stuff. It's just a great show. But I'll find a good drama TV show to watch once in a while. But for movies and stuff like that, that shit just seems to be dead. Yeah, Unforgiven. And you better bury Ned right, or I'll come back and shoot every single one of you sons of bitches. Yeah, that was a great movie, Unforgiven. Yeah, Jeff Seven, dying ain't much of a living, boy. Prophecy, Poltergeist, Exorcist. We had so many great movies, and they keep trying to just remake them and make so many sequels and shit, and they're just rehashed garbage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mike. Yeah, you're right about that. Carlin and Pryor weren't woke. That's for damn sure. Right Turn, Clyde. Yeah, Glen South. Yeah. Oh, the toy. Yep. Yeah. And Splash. You remember that one? Yeah. Peaky Blinders is awesome too. That's a good show. I've watched that one too. That's another show I was talking about that a serious drama TV show that's really good. It seems like they do those well now, but that's the only thing. Space show where Sean Connery plays a sheriff. Huh? Is he a sheriff in space, or is he like a sheriff and some aliens come down to Earth? Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of people did. Mike rented movies every weekend, but we just had the three channels to watch all the way up until my mid to late teens. My mid teens, we finally moved to town for a short while, and we had cable for a short time. Gremlins, yeah, yep. Outland. Oh, is that Outland? Is that the one with Sean Connery? Strength of the Bear. Okay. And there's another movie, Sean Connery remind me of it, The Highlander. That movie was awesome. There can be only one. Yeah, I remember when I first saw that movie and he pulls out that katana. Yeah, there can be only one. Yeah, those Highland. I didn't really. I probably watched the second one, but it must have been forgettable because I don't remember it very well. But the second Highlander must not be. And that I know they had a Highlander TV show too, but I never watched it. I just liked that first movie. Zardoz. What's that, Lake? Yeah, how many of y'all have ever seen that, that cartoon Star Blazers? Snake Plissken. I thought you were dead. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that the TV series Highlander was 8 out of 10. I didn't know it was that good. I might have to check it out. Yeah, but that first Highlander movie is one of my favorites. Oh, was that Sean Connery's character's name in one of those movies, Lake? Yeah, Escape from New York and Escape from LA. You did, Mike? Yeah. And that's another good movie is Braveheart. Freedom. Yeah. That I remember the first time I watched that movie. That was just an awesome movie. Oh, I didn't know that, McQueen, that there was a Snake Plissken comic book series. I'm gonna have to check that out. Oh, Zardos was the name of the movie. Okay, like, all right, David. Yeah, that's what I like too, the sword fighting. That guy had the staples in his neck from almost having his head severed, right? In the first movie. Yeah, that was that whole that was such a good premise, you know? That was such a good starting point for a movie or for an entire universe, like Star Trek or Star Wars, the Highlander universe with the whole thing, and somebody just kinda let it go. But, yeah, I love that shit when I was a kid. Conan anybody had a sword, Conan the Barbarian was my favorite. When he punched that camel, knocked the damn camel out, and when he was walking through the town after he ate that black lotus with that thief. I forget that thief's name, but yeah, he's tripping on a black lotus, Conan is, and that camel nudged him or something, bumped him, and he turned around and knocked that bitch out. Y'all know what scene I'm talking about. Yeah, that shit's crazy. Yeah, that Conan the Barbarian, that's I still watch that every once in a while. I love those movies. I just go back and revisit them every once in a while. Lost Boys. But yeah, A River Runs Through It, Far and Away, those are good movies too. Yeah. I've No Wish to Fight You. Tom Cruise has made some good movies. He might be a weird guy jumping up and down on Oprah's couch and shit or whatever. Jackson Coates, hey there. Glad to see you here, man. Glad you could make it. We're talking about 80s movies and not well, any Gen X movies from the 70s through the 90s, actually. Braveheart. Yeah. Yeah, I love Braveheart. Glad you can make it, Jackson. We're talking about getting together and thinking about doing some kind of Gen X festival too, live streaming from different parts. So yeah, and I'll say the email again. It's genxthinks@gmail.com. So if any of y'all want to take part in that, take part in the creation and the brainstorming of that, email me and I'll get us all on a email circle so we can start brainstorming and spitballing this idea. Yeah, Lonesome Dove. Yeah. Roadie with Meatloaf, Alice Cooper, Art Carney. Yeah, there were so many. There were just so many. And I don't know what it was back then. I think they had to work harder too. I think part of the reason the movies and stuff have gone downhill is because of the CGI, because they just rely on that a lot now, right? If it just looks fantastic and it's real colorful and crystal clear and it looks pretty and all that and realistic, then people will want to go see it. So I think they rely more on CGI and shit like that now than they do on on writing and acting and makeup and cinematography and, stuff like that. Out of Africa. It's a drama, but that was a hell of a good movie. Yeah, and just the cinematography and that and the acting and all that with Robert Redford and I'm gonna forget her name, not Sissy Spacek, but another very famous actress. If I said her name, you'd know it right off the bat. But yeah, that was a great movie, Out of Africa. But it was a drama, not really, our 80s style Ferris Bueller kind of movie, more of a drama, but just an excellent movie. Yeah, we've had No Way Out. Yep. There's another one. And we had just in every genre you can look at it, horror movies, comedies, dramas. We had great movies across the board. Yeah, yeah. 310 to Yuma was a good movie too. I like that one. I'll watch that once in a while. Yeah. And I don't know, I ever since maybe probably Tombstone maybe, I haven't really watched a Western. Have they made a good Western since Tombstone or Unforgiven? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, David. Star Trek, the motion picture, had better FX than the newer movies, yeah. And and it's not like movies had shitty FX back then. They just had to work harder to do it. Like look at Jaws. Now they had this big contraption they had to build, and they actually had to build it. It wasn't just a CGI fish in a CGI ocean and people, screaming at a blue screen. They had to build that thing and put it in the water, and the thing would fail. And I watched the documentary kind of commentary and stuff about Jaws and all the trouble they had getting this mechanical shark to work. Yeah. So it's awesome history, that kind of stuff in these movies that we used to watch. And the same thing with Alien. I watched Alien, the first Alien, and it was awesome, just a great movie, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. And it wasn't until like, I don't know, the early 2000s or something, when IMDb came out. I'm looking at IMDb. I like going through, I'm a movie buff. I like going through and looking at different, trivia on the movies and different stuff and um, stuff like that. And I just happened to notice years and years later that Alien was made in 1979. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, there ain't no damn way this was made in 1979. This shit looks so real with the android and the alien and shit and all this. The 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 effects, the special effects that they used, the alien suit and shit and all that stuff, the makeup and all that stuff, the camera angles they had to use and all that cool stuff. It's a masterpiece when you think about the way the tools they had to make that movie and how realistic it looked. Nowadays, it's just a bunch of computer shit. They don't have to do anything. Yeah, they don't have to do anything. They just wear a suit with some baubles on their face, and it makes them into a alien, and that's it. There's no art to it anymore. Yeah, Paul Hogan. That's not a knife. Yeah, crikey. Yeah, I loved Crocodile Dundee. Quick and the Dead, yep. Oh, what was that one with the Psycho? Remember Psycho? The first one in the motel and all that shit with his mother and all that crazy shit. That was a scary movie when I was a kid. I don't care who you are. That shit was scary as hell. When I was a kid watching that, I forget when it was. It must have come out in the 70s because I was a little kid the first time I watched it, but that shit had me scared to death. Yeah, Popeye. Yep. Who was that? David? Yeah. Oh no, Presidential Touch. Popeye, yeah. Quick and the Dead. No Holds Barred. Oh, and then you can't forget the whole martial arts thing we had. Uh, Jean-Claude Van Damme and uh, who was the other guy? The guy. I'm gonna get a brain fart here. Who was Jean-Claude Van Damme's competition? The guy that just like flipped people around and shit. I can't think of his name right now. I've seen that before, David, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I've never watched it though. But that's a hell of a movie. That same guy in that movie, I've seen the previews for that movie and stuff. That's the same guy in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That's a funny ass movie. Holy shit. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That's another Coen Brothers movie. That shit's hilarious. Oh, you did, Mike? That would be cool as shit to work behind the scenes on a movie like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, McQueen. Alien was ahead of its time, but the shit they did was just awesome. Oh, yeah, the second one, yeah. Game over, man. Game over. Put her in charge. Yeah, my boy. That was the same. I'm not gonna be able to remember his name either. Chet from Weird Science, the same actor. He just died a couple years ago. But yeah, Aliens was just classic. That's one of my, I'd say, top 5 movies there, Aliens. Yeah. Express Elevator to Hell, going down. Yeah, yeah. Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, that shit was awesome too. Steven Seagal, thanks. Presidential Touch. Yeah, that was his name. Yeah, but we had all those movies too. Kickboxer, uh, um, what was it? Bloodsport, and all of Steven Seagal's movies. And I probably, yeah, Bloodsport. There you go, McQueen. Yeah, but those were all Chuck Norris. Yeah, yeah, I know. He pushes the earth down. That's how we get the tides. Is when Chuck Norris does push-ups. That's what actually causes the tides. Bill Paxton. Yeah, Metal Gear. Yeah, you got it right. Yeah. Yeah, when he got yanked off the train and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, that shit is funny. Bill Paxton. Thanks, McQueen. Yeah. Cool man. Hi, buddy. We're talking about movies from back in the day. We're just talking about aliens and blood sport. What was that in Bloodsport? Now I show you trick or two. he he told Van Damme that shit. Yeah, I love that movie when I was a kid. I can't even count how many times I've seen Bloodsport. And that crazy shit where Van Damme would always find a reason in every single movie to do the splits. What the hell? I didn't think about it when I was a kid, but then I grow up and I watch his movies or whatever. I'm like, dude, you gotta do splits in every movie. You know what I mean? Every single one. Yeah. South Florida. Hey, what's going on, Doug? Good to see you here, buddy. We're talking about movies from back in the day. I'm glad to see you here, man. Seriously, glad you can make it. The Hard Way, James Wood and Michael J. Fox. I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. The Hard Way. I'll have to check that one out. Oh, Karate Kid. Shit. Yeah, Bucky. Yeah, Karate Kid was freaking awesome. Bruce Lee. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, that's right, Mike. I was getting short, man. I'm going home in 2 weeks. Game over. The Crow, yeah, that was awesome. That was an awesome movie too. Yeah, Brandon Lee died making that movie. That was weird. He got shot with a blank or something. I don't know. Of course, all kinds of conspiracy theories. Presidential Touch, Sharky's Machine. Yeah, Bert got his fingers chopped off. And then Gator. Remember, he was Gator McCluskey in that movie Gator. And The Longest Yard, where he went to prison. And the scene I remember a couple scenes from The Longest Yard. One of them was where he was putting or somebody put mud in his boot, or he put mud in somebody else's boot. And then when that guy went into that closet or something and pulled the chain to turn the light on, and the light bulb exploded fire on him. Yeah. Yeah. Old Burt Reynolds was in some good shit. Yeah. Yeah, David Van Damme kicking the shit out of some banana trees. Yeah. Perfect Weapon. I remember that sounds familiar, but I don't remember that movie specifically, Metal Gear Punisher. That sounds familiar. Is that like a spoof on Lethal Weapon? White Lightning, Mike, is that the name of a movie? Yeah, oh man, The Crow was a good damn movie. They just remade that. Have you seen the new one? I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know. But I mean, by, the way they've been remaking movies, I doubt it is, but that's why they don't remake movies very well nowadays. That I don't know about your class of '84, Lake. Oh, Cool Hand Luke, dude. Yeah, Cool Hand Luke's my favorite. Probably my favorite prison movie is Cool Hand Luke. That's just it was before my time, but yeah, that I love that movie. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great one. Okay. Jeff Speakman in The Perfect Weapon? Okay. Yeah, Cool Hand Luke, that's just and not a lot of action in it or anything. It's just a story about a guy and his will to resist the man. That's just a classic movie. And if you haven't seen that shit, you need to watch that shit. Cool Hand Luke. If you don't like authority, you don't like being told what to do, and you buck the system or whatever, you don't trust the government, watch Cool Hand Luke if you haven't. Yeah, that's just right up my alley there. Yeah, Cool Hand Luke. Sometimes nothing can be a real cool hand. Yeah. Oh, the movie Class of '84. Oh, okay, Lake. All right. No, I've never seen that one. I have to check that one out too. And then they had some pretty good sports movies back then too. I'm trying to remember some of them. They had that movie. Remember that movie Miracle? I don't know when that came out. I think it was late '80s. That was a pretty damn good movie. Does Caddyshack count as a sports movie? I was still thinking about that shit, that Rodney Dangerfield. I can't believe that dude got famous and rich. It was just a goofy son of a bitch, and he got rich and famous just being completely ridiculous, but he would say some of the funniest shit. Damn, he was hilarious. That was one hilarious dude. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. That was one funny ass dude. I don't think about him very often, but when I do, when you just look at that dude, just look at a picture of that dude, you're gonna laugh. He's all Rodney Dangerfield was awesome. Yeah, yeah. I was just watching the heavy metal movie yesterday, the day before. Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000. Those are good ones. I like that animated stuff. I always have. I never really cared whether it was animated or not. But yeah, they've had animated. What was that one? Frazetta, Frank Frazetta. I'm not gonna Fire and Ice or something like that. They had that movie, and that was a good movie too. Oh, okay. No, I didn't even know he had a club in New York City, Mike. But I remember him in those movies, Old School and Caddyshack and shit, and he would just just uh just the shit he would say, just hilarious. Yeah. And he was just he that's one of the that's a guy that got as far as he did off of pure talent. He was just one of the funniest people on the planet. And because he didn't get anywhere on his looks, that's for damn sure. No shit, McQueen. You knew a guy that looked just like Rodney Dangerfield? Yeah. Yeah, I've never met anybody that looked like him, but those eyes, his eyes were hilarious. Yeah, and he'd make the most of them too, because 'cause he'd do all that shit and look crazy as shit. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, but those are some great movies he was in. I need to buy Caddyshack on DVD, so I own it, so I can watch it every once in a while. I haven't seen it in years. I remember, what's his name? The caddy, shit, I'm gonna forget his name now. Trying to remember all these different movies and names. I'm coming up with blanks every once in a while of actors that I know. You know what I mean? I know them. But anyway, he was the caddy, the main one of the main stars in there. He's a big star now, though he's old. But he was sitting there with a golf club, and he was pound like slamming it down into the golf bag while he was watching these two old ladies. And he was talking like that. That shit was hilarious, man. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. He's one of the biggest stars on the planet, and I can't remember his name. He was in Ghostbusters, and that's another great movie from back then. Ghostbusters, holy shit. Yeah. Zool. Yeah, Rick Moranis. Wasn't that Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters? Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore was in Caveman or something was the name of that movie. Uh Neanderthal Man or Bill Murray. Yeah, Lake saved me from clear over there in Norway. Yeah, Bill Murray. Slapshot. Yeah, with Paul Newton. Yep, that's a good one. Yeah, I remember that one. Dan Aykroyd. Oh yeah. Trading Places. That's that movie was hilarious too. They had all kinds of those movies back then. What happened to them? You know, it seems like someone would come along and take their places. But yeah, they never did. Those guys are gone, and John Candy, yeah, John Candy made a bunch of them too. I was talking about Joe P. Have I said hi to you yet, Joe P? Well, hi and welcome to the party if I haven't mentioned you already. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, John Candy, he was in a bunch of my favorite scene with John Candy is uh Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, where him and Steve Martin, they're sleeping in the same bed, and John Candy wakes up and he asks Steve Martin, "Where's your hand?" And Steve Martin says, "Between two pillows." And John Candy says, "Those aren't pillows." And they both jump up and start acting real straight. You know, you see them bears? Shit. Spies Like Us. Yeah. Stripes. Yep. Yeah. Great. Civil defense prepping. Hey, buddy. Glad to see you here. Yeah, The Great Outdoors. I love that movie. Yeah, that's one of the good ones. What they call that steak? Do you remember? They had a name for that steak, like the Terminator or something, or the Juggernaut or something. They named that steak, that big 96-ounce steak that John Candy had to eat. Yeah, that shit was hilarious. Yeah. Coming to America. Yeah, that's another hilarious one. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't do that now. Yeah, that'd be racist. You're right, David. When they got up and left that Jerry curl stain in the couch, that shit was so funny. Yeah, they're not allowed to do that anymore. But yeah, that's part of comedy, even in movies or stand-up or whatever. It's to push boundaries and make people laugh and to make fun of each other and ourselves and not take shit so seriously. That's the reason for it, you know? So we can laugh at ourselves and lighthearted. Because I've always my whole life, I've always had, you know, Hispanic or Black friends or whatever, and we've always ribbed each other, you know? You know how many times I've been called cracker and white boy and honky and shit by my friends, and it meant nothing. It was, they did it. They were saying that stuff because they were my friends, and we were being cool like that. It wasn't. Now you can't say that. I mean, you can, of course. I can say whatever the hell I want, but if people treated each other like that now, like we did back in the day, everybody would be offended and all that shit. So, and that's the same thing with movies like that. They just can't do that anymore. And it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to pick on each other and make each other laugh and try to embarrass each other and shit. That's what it's all about. Yeah, comedy got outlawed, yeah. And that's another thing. Maybe that's why a lot of our movies have gone to shit because we used to have real wide lanes where they could play with their dialogue and stuff and banter and do things like the Jerry Curl Stains and different stuff and the Mel Brooks movies and Blazing Saddles and shit and all that stuff. But they can't do that anymore. So they're narrowed now because they're gonna piss off, you know, a third of the country, and they're gonna go viral and get canceled and all this shit, and and then, of course, the media will pick it up. It'll be on NBC News that Warner Brothers is now racist or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they are kinda boxed in by all this bullshit, new whatever you wanna call it, woke or just you can't say anything anymore. You can't make fun of anybody anymore. You can't push boundaries or do things that are funny. So that's taken shit. 90% of comedy is offensive. You know what I'm saying, to somebody. If you can't do that, hell, you've only got 10% left. So that kind of killed a lot of that. Just the way society has gone, and everybody's offended all the time about everything and anything. So, I know that whole offended thing and all that, I don't know if that would be classified as woke, but as we started that a long time before they started, saying the word woke. Yeah, civil defense. Yeah, I mean, I grew up well, all my friends were Latinos, and we'd all just, you know, I mean, they taught me how to cuss in Spanish when I was young and all that stuff. And, we'd run around and just pick on each other, and color and all that stuff never came. I mean, we might say something about it once in a while and pick on each other, but the fact that whether we would hang out with each other or not, color never came into that. You know what I'm saying? It was just we were all cool. We were buddies. So we we picked on each other because of our differences, whether one was tall or one was short or one was fat or one was skinny or one was dark brown or one was super, super white or whatever, you know what I mean? I remember I had a white friend. He was so white that I would pick on him. I was like, dude, looking at you gives me a headache because you're damn near clear. It's like looking through a glass of water. I said, dude, go get some sun. And that's the kind of shit we would pick on white people. White people would pick on each other like that. Latinos would pick on each other like that. Black people would pick on each other like that. And we pick on each other in the different groups. We would pick on each other like that. So, and that's how it was back then. It wasn't racist or anything. It was just people having fun hacking on their boys. So it's kind of sad to see that stuff go away because that shit was funny. That shit was funny, and a lot of that fun was at my expense, you know? My buddies picking on me, and I'd laugh, I'd have to laugh, that shit was funny. If it was funny, I'd laugh even if it was at my expense. Oh, the truffle shuffle, yeah, Joe P, yeah. Hell yeah, dude, the truffle shuffle. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, David. Family reunion with a box of assorted crackers, yeah. Oh, they're making a new Naked Gun? Civil Defense? I didn't know that, dude. I haven't heard anything about that. I'm gonna have to check that out. No, I haven't heard anything about that. Naked Gun is one of my favorite comedies like that. That shit, dude, man, that shit I used to laugh at that. And and Naked Gun was that same crazy shit, but they used a lot of visual stuff. Like they walked into the lab, into the, forensics lab, and one of the scientists was just this huge guy, and all you could see, was the bottom of his lab coat. And that main detective, he looks up at the scientist, you can't see the scientist because he's out of the screen. He said, "Dude, you got something on the corner of your mouth," and you see a big hand go up. And he said, "No, the other side," and the big hand goes back up, and like half a banana falls down on the table. Like, holy what the that shit was hilarious, dude. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Civil defense, yeah, no colors, no gender, just yeah, it was just awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out though. Naked Gun, the new one. I don't know. Hopefully they do it right. If they do it right, it could be awesome. If not, then I don't know. Dragonfly. We got another Australian. Speaking of Australian, where's Vintage? Hey, Dragonfly. Good to see you here, buddy. I'm glad you can make it, man. Good day. Good day, mate. Glad to see you, buddy. Oh, I don't have my knife. I'd show you my knife. We're talking about movies from back in the day, Dragonfly. And we already talked about Crocodile Dundee. Some of my favorite movies are Australian. That's another one, Man from Snowy River, y'all. You can't forget that one. Holy shit. That's a good one. Did I miss somebody? SSKI, ski. Is that how you say it? Ah, glad you could make it, man. Sup? We're talking about old movies, dude. Naked Gun, and then the sequel, Naked Gun 2.5. And then he says, somebody, I forget how somebody died. It was somebody died anyway. And the main guy, I forget his name, Leslie Nielsen, I think his name was, the actor. And he said, man, that's not a way to go. Getting your nuts bit off by a Laplander. That's how I want to go. I'm like, dude, that's hardcore. That is hardcore. Yeah. All right, where are we at? I've been running my mouth. Mike Fleisner, first day in shorts after winter. Oh, winter. I'm down here in Florida. Winter was over about 2 months ago for us. Yeah, it's been hot down here. Oh, all right. All right, presidential touch. Hey, thanks, Ski. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sam Kinison. Oh shit, you can't. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that dude was insane. Yeah, I still go back and watch his shit sometimes. Yeah, that's Sam Kinison. We had some comedians back then. They'll never. I watch some comedians now, Theo Vaughn and that, and they're funny. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are good, but they're not just outrageous like Sam Kinison and George Carlin and Richard Pryor, the guys that we grew up with. Those dudes were insane, and that shit was hilarious. Eddie Murphy, Delirious, and yeah, those dudes were on another level. Yeah, slapstick. Yeah, Bucky. Well, I know Dragonfly. I know how to cuss in 3 languages, uh, American and English and Australian. Yeah, you got that right, Dead Wolf. Mad Max. Yeah, yeah, Joe P. Yeah, we've got some really great movies out of Australia. I mean, it's surprising how much our culture in Western civilization, how much we share, from Australia to the UK and Norway and just all over the place, how much we actually share is really surprising. I was actually kind of blown away when I first started this channel, and I found out how many other countries in Western civilization, how many people consider themselves Gen Xers, because I didn't know, any Australians considered themselves Gen Xers until recently. And then I, started talking to people like Dragonfly and Vintage and Lake, and find out that they're Gen Xers. Like, oh, okay, that's awesome. That's cool as hell. I thought it was just us. Like Lake said, they would get our movies over there like 6 months after us. He watched all the same movies we did. He would just watch them 6 months later. So that's just cool as hell. Okay, what Picnic at Hanging Rock? Okay. All right. I've never heard of Picnic at Hanging Rock. I'm gonna have to look that one up and check that one out. I don't need a gun. I've got a donk. Rusty Doob. Yeah. Yeah. Breaking balls. Yeah. We just gave each other such a hard time. And it was funny, and we all loved it. I mean, unless one person got hacked on continually all the time, and that happened. But most of us had enough sense not to pick on the same dude in our group constantly until he started feeling bad about himself. So we'd just pick on each other. Everybody got their fair share. Robert Mark Heemstra, Ferris Bueller. Yeah, yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah. Yeah, I just watched that not too long ago. I'm telling you, I rewatch these movies all the time. I don't really watch new movies. I don't watch the news and shit. I don't know. I just don't. I watch older movies more than anything else. And my wife gets sick of it sometimes. Every time you watch a movie, it's some kind of old shit with swords and stuff. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not gonna watch some bullshit. I'm gonna watch some cool shit. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, he was in Back to School. I gotta rewatch Back to School, Dragonfly. I haven't seen that in years. So I didn't realize he was in, Sam Kinison was in Back to School. But yeah, that was just a funny son of a bitch. He would just him his face would get red and he'd be screaming into the mic. Holy shit. No, I still do, well, maybe not. I do mama jokes once in a while. I did a couple videos on mama jokes, David. Some of them are just funny. They're just hilarious, dude. Yeah, you can't tell other people mama jokes though. Yo, mama. One of my favorite ones is your mama's so skinny she's got to run around in the shower to get wet. And I always get the visual. You know, that shit cracks me up. Oh, damn. Presidential touch. Andrew Dice Clay. Hickory dickory dock. He was a beast. Yeah, that dude was. Have you ever seen that movie Ford Fairlane? Yeah, I watched that thing 1,000 times when I was a kid. I haven't seen that one recently though, but I watched it a bunch of times when I was a kid. Yeah, Ferris Bueller was awesome. You want a gummy bear? They're soft and warm. They've been in my pocket. Oh, Mike, I'm a man. Is that the name of a movie? Evil Angels. No, I'm gonna have to look that up again. Man, you're throwing all kinds of stuff in there. You giving me homework, Dragonfly. The dingo ate my baby. I've heard that a lot, but I never knew where it came from. Evil Angels. Okay. No Aussie is convinced late Lindy Chamberlain has ever told the truth. Okay. Now I got to look that shit up. Oh, Sam's the history teacher in Old School. All right, Mike. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in forever. That's one of the ones I just haven't seen in a while. I'm gonna have to go check it out. Oh yeah, getting ripped on was yeah, Joe P. Getting ripped on was awesome. I mean, it taught you how to laugh at yourself. It taught you, taught you how to come back and how to just weather the storm, sticks and stones, that kind of thing. It was great. I don't know. I think that was a good thing, being picked on and hacked on. And yeah, it wasn't always fun. Don't get me wrong. When all your buddies are aiming their barrels at you, it's not fun sometimes. But it was like you said, it taught us how to have thick skin. And now the last 40 years of my life, I don't get bothered by that shit. So yeah. Now I couldn't imagine spending my whole entire life being bothered every time somebody said some shit to me. And that's what these kids are gonna be faced with. Every time they hear something a little off color, they're offended. That I don't understand that shit. I don't understand why anyone would want to be that way. Mike, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. Sam, the history teacher, yeah. Mike, are you serious? Dickory? Hickory Dickory Dock? You don't remember that from what was his name again? I just read it. Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah, it was one of his things that he would say. Hickory Dickory Dock. I can't say well, I could say the rest of it, but YouTube might have a problem with it. Andrew Dice. He didn't have a problem with cuss words. Oh, yeah, McQueen, me too. Oh, by far, me though. I watch old movies by far more. I'll watch 10 old movies for every maybe 20 or 30 old movies for every one new movie I watch. Try to watch. A lot of the new movies I'll watch part of and I don't even finish that shit. It's just garbage. But it'll have a good premise, so I'll give it a shot and no. No, Dragonfly, I've never heard of Rodney Rude. All right. I'm gonna have to look that up too. Shit. All right. Yeah. All right, McQueen. You and the missus have fun. Thank you for dropping by, man. I sincerely appreciate it. Seriously, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. You contributed a lot to our conversation here. That was awesome, man. Thank you. Y'all have a great evening. And I'll be back again next week at the same time. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I saw War Games and I almost watched it, but then I had to do something else, Dragonfly, and I never did really watch it. I watched like the first 10 or 15 minutes of it, then I had to go do something. I forget. But yeah, I need to rewatch that too. That's a good movie. Yeah, we're the whatever generation, Mark. Robert Mark Heemstra. The whatever generation. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Whatever, dude. I don't know how many times I've said that in my life. Whatever. That's so true. That's so us. Whatever. Oh, okay. All right, Mike. Dickory. All right. Yeah. Okay. That was part of his routine is to ask what the hell dickory was. All right. I got you, Mike. Yeah. Yeah, Robert. Oh, well, whatever. Never mind. Screw it. I don't care. Yeah. That's a whole sentence for Gen X. Oh well, whatever. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah, the original Tron. You remember Lawnmower Man when that first came out? Now I did rewatch that recently too. I rewatched a lot of old movies. But yeah, it doesn't really hold up with the graphics and stuff because a lot of it is computer, it's in the computer and stuff. And the graphics don't really hold up well, but it's still a pretty cool movie. Lawnmower Man. No, it's almost a horror movie because I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's almost a horror movie. Not I guess maybe a thriller. Maybe that would be the proper genre classification, but no, it's definitely not a comedy. But it's about computers and AI and stuff like that made back in probably the late '80s, I think. Yeah, yeah, it was trippy, kind of Flowers for Algernon kind of feel to it. Yeah, real kind of Flowers for Algernon vibe. Yeah, real. It got it decent movie. It's just the graphics don't hold up well. Okay. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's definitely worth a watch once. I've watched it several times. Like I said, I've watched it here recently. I still liked it. It just, the graphics don't hold up as well to CGI because it's a lot of, computer animated stuff. But so that you just got to go into it with that knowledge. Big Red. Yeah, hell yeah, LJ. Gen X don't stop. What are you talking about? Y'all still going? We're going. Actually, I gotta stop here pretty quick. my my wife's gonna get mad at me. We'll go for a little while longer though. Oh, no problem, Dragonfly. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's worth a watch. Yeah. Oh, the black car. Yeah, I remember that movie too. A black car followed people and like crashed them, didn't it? It was the car was a murderer. Wasn't that Carrie though? No. Christine. Christine. Yep. Yes. SSKI. Yeah, Christine. Oh yeah. Yeah, Dragonfly. I remember those. Spaceships on fishing wire. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I put story and then acting and then CGI special effects and that shit last, but the story's got to be good to be interesting, and then the acting has to be good, and then the CGI last. There's a lot. Some of the best movies don't have any CGI in them. Hey, Joe P, thank you, man. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, yeah. Stephen King was always a little. From what I've heard, I've actually talked to people that knew him, I and they said he was weird. His whole like into the whole like death thing and shit. The weird kid seemed like almost like a serial killer. Not calling a dude a serial killer. I'm just saying that's what Dragonfly. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Car, a black Chevelle, and Christine, a 56 Chevy. Yeah. It seems like I remember, yeah, there. I think I missed something here. Oh, Mike Grizzly Adams. Yeah, that was my shit. Old number 7 and Ben. Yeah, yeah, I loved Grizzly Adams, and I used to be a big Stephen King fan when I was younger. I read all of his books all the way up to Misery or something, Gerald's Game, and then I tried to read a couple more, and I just couldn't get into them. Just the shit. I don't know. I just I just don't like his newer yeah. Even now there's a newer movies that are pretty damn good. Is the remake of It. Those movies were pretty good, so I'll give them that. But they already had a bunch of shit to go off of. Stephen King wrote the book. It wasn't like they had to stray very far. They pretty much redid the whole thing verbatim, just updated the graphics. So it's like all they did was, how they do on video games, just made it look better. Oh, Grizzly Adams was popular in Australia? I didn't know that. Yeah, I loved that show when I was a kid. Yeah, SSKI, yeah. Yeah, Robert McCammon, I read a lot of his books too. Yeah, David, me too. Yeah, if I could get me a mule and a grizzly bear, I'd bail off into the woods. All right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap it up. So, thanks for hanging out with me for a couple hours. It's been great. I lost track of time. I usually do these for 2 hours, so I'm a little over 20 minutes late, but hopefully I won't get in too much trouble. Thanks for showing up and hanging out. Like I say, we do this. I do an hour video, an hour live stream every Saturday morning at 4 a.m., but that's Eastern time here in Florida. And then I do one at 4 p.m. on Sundays, Eastern time here in Florida. but I'll try to start putting the different times up so y'all know by your position on the planet when it's going to happen. I just been, working a lot outside because I don't make a living doing this. I make a living building a tiny house right now for somebody, and they're just working a lot of hours, so I don't have much time. But I will look into doing that and trying to post on the what are they, just those posts, those memes that I post once in a while. I'll try to post them to remind y'all what time. But every Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon Eastern time. And thank y'all for showing up. David, Bucky, Dragonfly, Mike, Presidential Touch, LJ. Who else we got here? Ski or SSKI, Civil Defense Prepping. Trying to catch everybody. This was a long one, so we had quite a few people show up. So Robert, Mark, Heemstra, McQueen. I think McQueen left us, didn't he? But thank you for showing up anyway. Joe P. A lot of you showed up this time. Rusty Dude, can't forget my boy Rusty. Lake. Yeah, everybody that showed up today, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate it. Seriously, thank you. I have a blast on it. You saw me, I'm laughing the whole time. I have a blast with y'all. So thank you so much for showing up and spending a few of your minutes with me, a couple of your hours. And I have a great time doing this. So thank you so much. So I'll leave you there with that. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.